Hey everybody, welcome back to Horror Trans. My name is Stephanie Bree. I am a transgender woman. I talk about all things horror, and today I'm tackling the early 2000s werewolf horror flick, Ginger Snaps. So, this is one that there's really not a lot to it. It's a very simple movie. So there's not like a ton to unpack. It's a basic werewolf story about two girls, they're teenage sisters, who are miserable in their lives. They do not like their parents. They have no friends at school. They're bullied at school, etc. And one of the girls, the older sister, gets bit by a werewolf and slowly starts transforming into a werewolf. And the younger sister is teaming up with this kid who is a drug dealer, I guess, or something like that, who is knowledgeable of herbal medicine and werewolf lore, etc., who she's working with him to find a cure so she can turn her sister back to normal. That's the gist of this movie. Now, this movie has it does have metaphors in it. It is largely a metaphor for a teenage girl going through puberty, specifically getting her period and things of that nature. So they do actually talk about the girl getting her first period and how that compares to her transforming into a werewolf. And they use that metaphor throughout the film. So this might make some people uncomfortable. As far as the kills, there's really only like 2 or 3 kills in this movie, if I remember correctly. So they're not incredibly gory. Well, one of them is. The other ones are just kind of gory. But it's still good. The gore is good. It is still a little almost scary. I won't say it's fully scary, but it's almost scary. But it's very heartfelt. You really feel for these sisters. You can tell that they love each other and that they're having a hard time with this transformation that she's going through as they're growing apart because of it. And as she's getting her period and going through puberty and turning into a werewolf at the same time, she awakens her sexuality and begins exploring that. So there is a not graphic but violent sex scene in this movie. It's not necessarily a rape, but it's kind of a rape. The male partner in the movie does consent verbally to the sexual acts, but the sexual acts are more aggressive than he bargained for. So like I said, it's almost a rape in that, yeah, he said let's have sex, but he didn't want like brutal, rough, violent, rip his, back with her claws sex, which is what he got. Now, what's interesting about this movie is the sisters have a suicide pact. So that's the other metaphor or layer to this film. Because they're it is tackling the whole suburban life, bored out of your skull. There's no point to living because fucking every day is the same. And these two girls are just bored to death. And so what they do is they're horror fans. And what they do is they sort of, you would say, cosplay horror deaths. And they film and photograph and videotape these scenes and show them in school as school projects. This is a good fucking movie. I love this movie. This is my absolute favorite werewolf movie of all the werewolf movies I've seen. Granted, I've only seen like 4 or 5 werewolf movies, so, I'll talk about them as I come across them, but by and large, this is a pretty good movie. And I highly recommend it, and it is an absolute buy, in my opinion. That being said, you don't really have to buy it, per se, because it's literally available on every streaming service. This is one of those movies, it's a staple of streaming services. It's everywhere. If they're streaming horror movies, they're streaming Ginger Snaps. They just are. You really can't get away from this movie. So, on the plus side, this is an easy one to find. So there you go. I highly recommend checking out Ginger Snaps.